That's your breakfast.
It's like a little egg bite, I thought it was a quiche, which I call breakfast pie,
Oh, that makes sense.
right?
Breakfast pie. Although any pie could really be for breakfast. It's just fruit, you know?
And all pie is healthy
Yeah,
if there's fruit in it.
definitely.
It's, strawberries healthy,
But it's interesting.
peaches are healthy,
Like cake
pecans and
not-
chocolate.
Cake is not acceptable for breakfast, but it's like exactly the same ingredients, and you just put it into a pan with a hole in the middle, and then all of a sudden it's a breakfast food.
I just saw a meme that said, I made an omelet, except with the egg, I added some flour and some chocolate and some other stuff, and it was pretty much just, they took a picture of it, it was a brownie.
That's
It was just a brownie. It was like, here's my omelet I made.
my omelet. It is made with eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the Next Day podcast.
The next day on your discipleship journey, I almost did your part.
Did you?
I almost did. I was almost like, hey, everybody.
Hey everybody.
We just switched places.
Yeah, I would have messed it. You would have messed it out. You would have said the next week podcast.
The next week.
That's what I keep. But we are live right now, which I don't know how you say live
We're
from
live.
podcast,
We're
but we are
pre-recorded.
We are recording from the wilderness, out in the wilderness right now.
Which is AKA the Narthex.
We're at VBS, and so if you do hear any kind of chaos and craziness, we're at VBS here at the Kingsland campus. We are sitting along a fake fire. Y'all may hear people walk by.
Yeah,
we might
we've
tell
got,
them
like-
to say hi. Say hi, Christian.
Say hi.
All right, so you may hear some kids walk by and say hi because we are out here in the hallway where we're probably gonna have groups passing by. For
We're
VBS.
sitting next to a poster that says, life is more fun with Jesus, because VBS this year is like a camping theme. And so everything is like very campy and cute.
Live it out.
I don't know all the
Live
songs
it
yet.
out.
I gotta learn the songs.
Hey, oh. But yeah, everything is all kind of wooded. So you have tents. We have Christmas trees up, but not decorated as Christmas trees. They're just normal trees.
They're like normal
Yeah.
woodsy trees.
Yeah, but this is going to be a lot of fun this week. We already did West Campus, a couple weeks ago, but now here's round 2 for VBS.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
So during this podcast, you're going to be able to hear on the podcast, you can already hear the sermons from yesterday. You can hear Christie and the Element. You can hear Carl, right? Yeah, Carl in the West Campus. And you can hear Pat do his final and last. Give me a minute. His last sermon. Which is, if you've been listening to them, they're all the same, but I don't know, he may change them up just a bit for which venue he's in.
Yeah, and they they must have preached long, because we
went
got
like
out
30 minutes.
Yeah, we got out in the Element like 20 minutes before they were done, which is like and we were running late in the Element too a little bit, so that never happens.
Yeah. So yeah, they
He
went
didn't
long.
cry though.
No.
He didn't cry.
I don't know. I'm sure he cried internally.
I was crying for him on the
Yeah.
outside, so.
But you can listen to all those on the podcast, and then we'll be talking about that today. So let's start off with our icebreaker, and I'm trying to think of one that's apropos. Chrissy, where are you on camping? And what has been your experience with camping? Have you done it often? What has it been like?
Okay, I haven't gone camping, tent camping, since college.
So you
But
have done it before.
Loved it. I
Okay.
mean, we would go every Halloween weekend. We would go. Me and my group of friends would go camping at the Texas State campgrounds, which is not a state campground, but the Texas State University campgrounds.
You just set up a tent in campus.
No.
It's just the middle of campus. You just have a tent.
No, it's beautiful. It's right there on the San Marcos River. It's just gorgeous, or it might be Blanco even, I don't remember, but there's a river like right there along the campground, and it was so fun. But I have not been since. We loved it though, and it was always obviously in October, so it was like a little chilly. And I don't know, I have really good memories of that.
Yeah. My family was never, at least growing up, we were never a camping out family. We would do campouts at friends' backyards and things like that. I mean, the closest thing to camping was there was a trip that we did. It was my maybe junior year of high school, maybe. And so we went to, as a student ministry, we went to Lake Travis. And so here's the thing, like it was advertised as this houseboat trip. And so, we're all going to be staying on the houseboat. No, the girls got to stay on the houseboat.
Oh, no.
The guys had to bring tents and all that because we're going to be sleeping on these campgrounds. Now, when you think of campgrounds, this is not what you're thinking of, because all the area that we had, the tents were set up literally maybe 4 feet away from a road.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, there's a road. I mean, now, it wasn't a highway or anything, but it was a road to where cars are driving by.
That would make me very uncomfortable.
And so we had to set up our tents, and the ground was nowhere near, it wasn't grass. It was all gravel and roots, and it was uncomfortable. My tent that I was in got flooded out because it rained heavily that night. And so I had to, sleep between two people in a small little tent.
So in general, you had a really bad experience with camping.
Yes. It was not the greatest. I was definitely roughing it, for sure.
Oh, my gosh. I haven't taken my kids camping yet, but I keep telling Justin, I'm like, I want to go to all the, national parks. I want to make that, a goal.
Yeah.
But we need to get, a trailer. We literally bought a truck with the intention of, someday we'll put a trailer on this and, and take it to all the national parks and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so I've always wanted to just go somewhere. But I guess my fear is I just want to go somewhere safe. And I know people say, all safe. I'm like, yeah, but knowing me, my imagination runs wild. And I'm going to be at Camp Crystal Lake. And that's when Jason is going to come and get me.
Oh, my gosh. Stop it.
But, I wouldn't mind just going out somewhere with my hammock and just tying it at a place and just sleeping and just spending some time out there. And I don't know. Something I wouldn't mind doing.
Oh, look, we've got some campers.
Oh, we got some kiddos. Hey, will y'all say hi?
Say hi.
Say it louder. Hi. Woo! VBS. All right, so y'all are going to be hearing some of that.
Yep, little interruptions here and there. We love it.
Oh, I think I see the bishop. Hey, Bishop. No.
She came to VBS.
Yeah, she came to VBS.
She's teaching a class.
I will say we did see the bishop. She was here at our church the other day because Pat's big retirement. So Pat is officially retired.
Well, apparently he's officially on the 30th. That's what we just heard today. Okay. But he's...
he did the last sermon, and he's...
Last sermon, so he's sort of in the checkout process now.
Yes. But his retirement party that we had, it was really great. It was so great to see 300-something people showing up from his former churches, from St. Peter's, different clergy and different people. It was just all coming to celebrate. So that was just a wonderful thing.
But he's here also today.
Yeah, he's
and
volunteering.
We'll be here this week. Hi, Edward.
Hey, Edward.
One of our student volunteers walking by. But yeah, he's here this week serving in a class with Jenna for VBS, which is awesome. I think that's such a great way to, truly live into his third class ticket that he preached about.
Yeah. And so that actually goes pretty well. Well, actually, before we do that, we just got back from our beach retreat. Any thoughts on the beach retreat, Christy? Because this is
I have
my
many.
third one. This is supposed to be the fourth one, but last year it got rained out because of the tropical storm, and we had to cancel. But we were able to go to this one with some students, and we had 2 beach houses right on the beach. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was technically my first beach retreat. Hi.
Hey, we have Holly Gibson.
Say hi really loud.
Say hi. What group are y'all?
The Scouts.
The Scouts. Yay. Y'all go live it out, Scouts. Hey, that rhymes.
I love it. Oh, we've got so many classes coming by.
Oh, here goes another group.
All right.
Hello, what group are y'all?
It's Miss Hikers.
Go Hikers!
Go
Say
Hikers.
hi.
Hi.
Hi. What group are y'all?
Mountain climber.
Mountain Climbers, say hi.
Hi.
Woo! We're recording the Next Day podcast here live at
on
VBS.
the podcast.
Yay!
Hello.
You want to say hi? You're on the podcast.
Hi.
Yeah. I think they're all going to be famous. Hello, what group
Hi
are y'all?
there.
The Trekkers.
Trekkers.
We got the Trekkers walking by.
They're trekking by.
Yeah. The Star Trekkers, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah,
Live
beach retreat.
long and prosper.
Yeah, beach retreat was very fun. And Christy, what did you think about it?
I loved it. I loved beach retreat. It was really awesome. I loved getting to hang out on the beach, obviously.
The water's always calling her.
water
Hello,
calls
what
me.
group are y'all? Adventure Squad. Y'all say hi for our podcast. Hi. Oh, we have the
Adventure Squad.
Park Rangers coming.
Park Rangers, say hi.
Alrighty, all right. Who's our 5th graders? Soon to be 6th graders.
Oh my gosh. Hi guys.
Y'all go live it out.
Man, this is their last VBS as campers.
I know.
Whoa.
So sad.
Oh, they grow up.
So sad.
Hello. We're
I
having
know.
a little
We're over
podcast
here
by the fire.
It was hot. Ooh.
Woo.
Speaking of s'mores, we had that on the beach.
We had it on the beach.
We had
That
a fire
was absolutely
going.
my favorite part. I got to like play the guitar and not that
We sang some
we
Coldplay
sang some-
and
yes.
some Smash Mouth.
We sang songs by the
all
fire.
All your typical campfire
But
songs.
it was good. It was so nice to lead worship. I hadn't done that in so long, and it was just like hearing. I kept the whole week just thinking like, well, and it was only like 2 worship sets, but I was like, man, I hope that like this is good. I hope like that kids are like responding to this and feeling, the spirit and the songs and all that. And it was just so great to like at the end of camp, like some of their favorite part was like getting to be in worship together and like hearing you and Ethan give your messages and stuff and, have communion together, which we had communion with a tortilla one night because our communion rolls molded.
They molded overnight. It was crazy.
So never done that before,
yeah.
but, I mean.
I realized we could have used some sliced bread, like white sliced bread.
The tortilla
I don't
was,
know. I think
the tortilla was
closer
solid.
to like unleavened bread and all that, right? So that would have been more accurate.
It was great.
But
it was great.
David, here's David Galasso.
David
You want to say hi on the
Galasso.
Next Day podcast?
Word up. What's going on?
Did you say word up?
He said word up. I love that. Is that your like call to worship on Sundays?
That's my hipster
Yeah.
part of who I am.
Oh.
But we're recording.
I could have done the Randy Jackson thing.
Yep.
What's up, dog?
What up?
Sup, dog?
Wow, that was a reference to early American Idol. Yeah.
He was in my high school, by the way. Randy Jackson.
Was in your high school.
He was He was our offensive lineman on the football team I played on.
Oh my gosh.
We've got to have
Buddies.
a special podcast with just David to just talk about all the people he knows. Like he
It
knows.
wouldn't be long enough.
You know the game of like 6 degrees of separation,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like just though you're never too far removed. Well, David, like we're 2 degrees separated from a lot of well-known, famous people, including the inventor or the owner of Raising Cane's.
No way.
Did you know that?
And when we went on our youth choir trip, I stopped by totally unannounced at his home
Oh
with
my
all
gosh.
these kids for the kids to see this enormous tree house that he has.
A tree house.
And he greeted us, and he was awesome.
Did he have chicken fingers for y'all?
He actually said, David, have y'all eaten? I said, well, yeah, but he goes, look, go by my store, get whatever you want, and then I'll let them know you're coming.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a hookup.
He's
right
got
there.
friends in high places.
But I taught and coached Todd in high school.
That's
where I taught.
amazing.
So yeah, we need to have you. I'm surprised we haven't had you on yet, have we?
You want to, and I'll tell them about all the people I'm
All right,
blessed to
all right,
know.
podcast listeners, we are going to need you to
Bye,
respond with your
Yeah.
desire
To hear.
to hear from David Galasso. And we hope to hear a large outcry that we want David.
But our last thing I just want to say about the beach retreat was that's one of my favorite things is we get to have worship outside. We have it underneath the beach houses
Yeah.
because they're on stilts, and you have the breeze, you hear the ocean, and it's just
Yeah.
I love having worship in different places, and having it outside is just so I really love that part. And then the last time we had worship was interesting because the house next door started having a party.
Yes,
and so we just
they
had to
did.
move over to the girls' house to be like at least some distance because they were playing music, playing
Yep.
cornhole. I
They
think
were
they were
having
celebrating.
a fun time.
What do you want to say? What their flag said?
Nope, I don't. I do not want to say what their flag, but just know they had a flag that was inappropriate for beach retreat.
Yeah.
But anyway,
They were living up, but it was fun.
it was someone's 50th birthday party.
yeah.
Is what we gathered, but
We had worship while they were
Yeah.
having their own time of fun.
which was very. I mean, again, like it's this is just the way that a microcosm of how it is in the world. Like we pause to worship as the world continues to go on, and
Yeah.
so anyway, it was really lovely. My one grievance, Chad, as you know,
Okay, we're not going to get into this.
was the amount of snacks.
The amount of snacks.
These small amount of snacks on the first day. The second day, everything was
That's
fine.
because you have to make sure you have enough food for
He
the next
rationed
day. The next
us
day.
so much. I was like, we're gonna all starve on this trip. I felt like I was gonna lose 10 pounds just like in one day, just because
Okay.
I wasn't able
Yeah.
to snack at all.
So all right. So according to Christie, you have a snack before breakfast. So you wake up, you have a snack, then you have breakfast, and then you have a snack, and then a snack, and then you have lunch, then you have a snack, dinner, snack.
It
Like
depends
that's how
on-
Christie lives out her day.
It depends on how heavy the food is, but we had now I was really grateful. We had church members pre-make meals for everybody.
So we just popped them in the oven.
It was
and
easy. It was perfect.
The students pretty much heated it up and kind of prepared most of it.
Right,
like,
right.
It was,
Oh,
It
hi.
is.
Yes,
Hello.
we're recording our podcast. Say hello. Oh,
it's
yes,
the next
one
day
of-
podcast in the woods
in the
over a
woods.
campfire.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
lovely. So we're we have one of our volunteers just saying hi, floating around.
And
Love
which group
it.
are you part of?
I had s'mores.
Oh, part of the
Oh, the
s'mores.
s'mores.
Hey,
That's Jesse's
life
class.
is more fun with Jesus.
That's right.
It's more fun with life.
Yeah. Yes.
Life. Love it. Love it.
All right.
Bye.
Oh well, so we'll have snack. But I will say it stems from the last time we had a beach retreat. We were unloading the vehicles from the first day. We're unloading all the food. We're unloading everything. And I go up to the boys' house, and I see them all sitting around the living room, all eating the food for lunch the next day.
Oh.
Like, they were all just eating away. And I was like, what are y'all doing? They're like,
Also-
well, we just saw snacks. And I was like, that's for
No.
lunch tomorrow. What are y'all doing?
Also, all the snacks lived in the boy house, and I was very unhappy
No,
about
but
this
that's...
arrangement.
Okay, I'm not gonna do. It's not like I told her. Like we're not just all eating. I'm trying to keep the boys from eating it, and I
Yeah.
can't trust the girls because
They
Christy's
had-
over there and she eats.
I'd be like, let's
nonstop.
it's fine.
Anyways, that was beach
That
retreat. It was
beach
great.
retreat was-
Maybe that should have been our ministry shout out.
No, our ministry shout out came first.
It was good.
but yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But let's get to our sermons because I know this is going to be a chaotic podcast with all our interruptions.
It
but I like
is.
it. People
No,
told me they loved the annual conference one. They said they loved the
I have heard
interruptions
that.
and all
I
that.
hope you guys are enjoying all the interruptions and the chaos of VBS. But yeah, so we yesterday had, and I know it's all staggered throughout
Yeah.
throughout the campus and throughout the church wide. West Campus. I think they also had their serve week. I believe was this week. Is that right?
Who?
West Campus. Did he preach about
I think
serving?
so. They
Yeah.
must have.
I think they must have.
Yeah, because it's a 3-week sermon series, but I think everyone's only done 2 because Pat
Yeah.
comes in and he did his goodbye one. So that
Right.
kind of But I know for our students at Sunday school, we did all 3 for Sunday school.
Right.
And
So-
this was the same thing we did at Beach Retreat.
Yeah, so
It was
we've been
strategic,
talking-
not lazy. Well, maybe a little bit lazy.
We've been talking about this a lot. I mean, and I do love when all of it aligns, that we are just like really honing in on a point, you know.
Yeah.
And we've talked, you know, a little bit like this. The sermon series is a little bit tricky to break up because, you know, it's sort of like Trinitarian in a sense that it's like being a good
Yeah.
neighbor is welcoming and loving and serving, but like trying to decouple welcoming from serving. Well, I mean, that's a little bit easier, but like welcoming from loving or loving from serving, you
Yeah.
know, like those are a little more difficult. So this week we are going to wrap up with loving our neighbor,
Yeah.
which, you know, is the greatest commandment, right? We are going to be on the Kingsland campus. It's going to be 9 o'clock traditional is going to be where we wrap that up because at 10:30 we are all together in the sanctuary for VBS Sunday. So
Woo!
both traditional service and element are totally different services this week at 10:30.
But it is going to be fun.
It is gonna be great.
And so, yeah, definitely come for that.
Yeah, and I think they will, you know, I think it's really works too with the series that we're in because in VBS, these kids learn about the love of God and how they then should live that out, right? By being loving towards their neighbors and their friends and family and all of that, you know.
Because the series is Like a Good Neighbor, St. Peter's is there. That reminds me of our sponsor, Geico.
Stop.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
no, I guess not. But yeah, this has been good. And so, Chrissy, you did your sermon over serving art. And it has to do a lot with, like, which I get, like, all these, just like what you were saying, because when I did it last week, it was over the Good Samaritan. So that could easily be turned into serve,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So all these kind of can mesh well together. But this week we focused on John 13.
Yep.
Is that right? And it was all about the foot washing.
Yes.
And which we talked about last week because
Whitney was on it, right?
Whitney already did a sermon on this.
Yep.
So you see the confusion here, but I kind of like that everybody's getting a piece of it.
Well, and we all sort of like, you know, you're going to hear a different sermon and maybe like a different facet of that sermon, you know, or that scripture.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about, because I was able to listen to some of Pat's, and his actually fits really well. I mean, into all of it, but really well into serving and humbling yourself.
Right.
Because when he talked about the class ticket for the wagon,
Which I think
and
is
all
such
that.
a good visual
Stagecoach,
and analogy.
doesn't it?
You know, I love his visual of that, and I watched his sermon when we were in Cancun. I watched
That's
his
a wonderful
message.
vacation you were on.
It was a
on
wonderful
the beach
vacation.
watching Pat's sermon.
I was, well, you know, when I'm not there, I always tune in because I just want to make sure everything goes well, and I want to support whoever it is preaching. So always try
Usually
to.
if I'm doing it, she's criticizing me. She's sending me texts, and she's like criticizing me the whole time. She's like, no, Chad, you did it wrong. Chad, you forgot this.
And then
Chad.
you go, oh, I just got a text from Christy.
Yeah.
Um,
But the so let's talk about that, because, you know, the foot washing is all about like Jesus taking on this servant form, role and all this, which I never knew this from you, that the garment, I never gave the most thought about that other than like he was just preparing himself and all that. But like you said, that garment, he takes out his outer garment. The outer garment signifies that he is not a servant, right? Or it signifies that
the not having an outer garment is like the uniform of a servant.
a servant. So him with the garment on shows he is not a servant. Like
Right.
anyone wearing it would never assume
Would never
you're, a
assume you're a
servant because
servant.
you have it. So
Yeah.
he takes it off, showing no, I'm switching my role here. I'm
Right. Which
doing this.
I mean, and he was in a servant. You know, he wasn't in a servant's role. He was a rabbi, and he was performing miracles. And in that,
And
you know,
he's getting a big following. And,
yeah, I mean, in that he is still like, he's still serving. You
Yeah.
know, he's still serving, but he's serving God, number one. You know, like he's doing the work of God, and he's serving, you know, the community, the people that are in need. He's you know, doing what needs to be done for those who are in need. but yeah, John is one of those. I mean, and they all do this, right? All the gospel writers, and really all of Scripture. I mean, nothing is just mistakenly written down, right? But John is one of those books. I feel like that every word choice and every like image that is painted is so important, and it all tells a story. The way the sentences are crafted, like that's communicating something. And so John, by having that little detail that first he took off the outer garment and then put it back on, is signifying something. And so we, slow down when you read Scripture slowly and pay attention to those things. You can, and especially with the cultural context, can get some more clues there. So just that he's signifying his role of a servant, and really what this is, representing is what's about to happen, right? He's cleansing everyone, right, of their sin, of their, their path that they've walked upon. He's cleaning off the dirt, right, from their feet. So like figuratively speaking, like he's cleansing
cleansing their souls,
their path, and their soul,
of their
right,
feet.
of their.
He's
He's
healing them.
Oh my gosh, where was all this on Sunday? Oh. You probably had to use some restraint at the communion table.
I try not to yell out during sermons and all that.
Here comes another class.
All
It's
right.
Miss Starlin's class. Hello.
Hey, what group are y'all?
What's your group?
What's y'all's group name?
The Bonfires?
Bonfires? Y'all say
Bonfire
hi.
buddies.
Scream hi. Hi, bonfire. Hey, we're in front of a fire.
We are. Oh my gosh.
It's nice and warm.
Yep. That's
Yep.
your group.
Bonfires. But yeah.
So there you go.
And then, this all goes back to, like, even at the beginning of Jesus' ministry of, like, when he was tempted, he was tempted with all this fame and glory. All the world could be his, and he can have all the riches, and he can have all, and he's always refused that. And so then whenever he's with his disciples, and they're constantly arguing who's the greatest
best,
among them,
right.
he's going, y'all aren't getting this. And so here
Right.
he is, he's about to wash their feet. All right, read the sign.
Life is s'mores fun with Jesus.
Yay!
Get it? S'mores?
It
S'mores.
is s'mores. It's a pun.
Because there's a marshmallow right here, and a graham cracker, and a fire.
Yes. We're missing the chocolate, though.
I know.
Are y'all having fun so far?
Yeah, that's a chocolate bucket.
It is a chocolate bucket. We're
Oh.
sitting on them, or like the logs. Are y'all having fun so far?
Yeah.
Have y'all played any games yet?
No.
Are y'all going to?
No.
Are you eating
No,
the chocolate?
I think y'all play a game
You're
here in
eating
a
all
little
the
bit.
s'mores?
No. We're being bombarded here. All right, y'all get with y'all's group.
All right. Y'all have fun. Oh, he's eating pretending to eat all the decorations.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Oh, okay.
Nom, nom,
Nom, nom, nom. I thought he was saying no.
Oh.
No.
No.
But yeah, so Jesus is washing the feet. It's like the opposite what you would expect the King of Kings
Right.
to do,
And I
the
think-
Messiah, God
Yeah.
in human form to do. You would think, no, don't bother yourself with that. But here he was.
And I think that's like, so, you might question, like, well, why did John exclude the, institution of communion from, John's gospel? Which is, it's funny, John is one of the most, like, revered texts in like the Catholic tradition. So it's interesting, that it's like so highly revered in the Catholic tradition when it doesn't like talk about the sacraments in that way. Which I just think it's kind of interesting. But like I talked about in my sermon,
instead of communion, do foot washings every
No.
every week?
But the
Heart tendons drops.
Yeah.
People are like, okay,
Oh,
I'm not doing
I'm out.
this.
Yeah.
You lose all your servers
Yeah,
and all your
everybody's
volunteers. They're like, no,
thank you. The connection team is not going to do that.
But you did play a wonderful clip. You played a movie clip from
Yes, Jesus Revolution.
Yeah, that came out like 2 years ago. It seemed like
Something
it was
like that.
not
It wasn't
that long ago.
ago.
And it was a lot of people really loved it because it was just talking about something that actually happened in the 60s, right?
Yeah, 1968 is the year that this film is like dated, or the year that's portrayed. Hello.
Where what is? It's 106. 106 down there. Go get a snack.
Yes.
You deserve one.
I need to go to the snack room
Yeah,
after
just keep
this.
going all the way down there. It's that room on your right, all the way down there.
For our listeners, the snack room is in E106.
Yeah, it is great. Church members bring snacks for everybody.
It's awesome. So it's 1968, Southern California. It's like the hippie movement has
The time
really
that Christie would
taken-
love to
yes,
love to live in.
really taken storm, and it is, it's just like a big movement, but like a lot of the people who, adults with children and more established people in the communities were just not happy about it. But their teenagers and stuff are like being influenced by this, right?
Yeah.
So they're starting to try and, they kind of see them as the enemy. Like they're going to draw their teens into this community of people that are using drugs and like just,
Not wearing shoes.
I mean, yeah, but they're, obviously
listening to Bob Dylan.
they're engaging in some, scandalous kind of activity, some racy kind of activity, like Woodstock, all that stuff comes out of that movement, right? So, they're really looked down upon. The hippies are really looked down upon.
They're curious to come to church. Like they're all.
So there's this, one guy, his name's Lonnie in the movie, and he's real, like he was a real person, and the movie kind of like, if you watch it, it kind of tells this story, and he sort of falls from grace a little bit and stuff. He has his own struggles, as any person does, but he comes through and is like prophetically like preaching about about Jesus and love and like grace and just this really beautiful truth that sort of there's revival that happens from this. But this is, so I showed a clip sort of like more towards the beginning of this story, and I mean, when I first watched this, I just cried, and I was like, surprise.
But yeah.
Surprise. But I was just like, this is the kind of pastor I want to be, right? Like, this is the kind of church I want us to be.
In this clip, like, it's the things in there, it was not being hyped up to show how strict the church can be.
It
No,
was
I have
accurate.
witnessed
Yes.
this before.
Super accurate.
This church people who are used to doing traditional way of doing things did not want these people coming into their congregation because their feet were dirty and they were muddying up. Y'all say hi.
What's your class? Which class?
Yeah,
are
what
y'all?
group are y'all?
Cozy Campers.
Cozy Campers.
Woo!
Well, we're recording our next day podcast. Y'all having fun? Yeah. Y'all singing some songs?
No.
What are y'all about to do? Music?
Ooh,
Nice.
yeah.
Y'all go and y'all sing and y'all dance.
No.
All right, I think you get to hang out with Miss Haley for a little bit and music. Fun times.
But yeah, it's not too far off. And so the people, their parishioners are complaining to the pastor, and they're like, we don't want, kind of like essentially like, we don't want
We
these
don't want them.
people.
It's time to kick them out.
And they're worried about the church carpet.
So
which
that was the thing that was mentioned. Was
it
like,
is a real thing.
That's a
Some
real
church
thing.
members care so much about the carpet.
they're like,
they
their
care
bare feet.
so much.
He said their bare feet are ruining our new shag carpet. And so the pastor's like,
oh, so that's what you
like,
care
oh,
about.
okay, let's be sure to save the carpet, right? Instead of these souls, these people. Yeah, we're recording our podcast. This is how it records. Yep, isn't that
You
so
see
cool?
your voice.
Yep.
Hey, it's some of our student leaders.
Hello, student
Y'all say
leaders.
hi in the podcast.
What's up? Hello.
Say hi. Hi. Wait, this is Emma. She's been on our podcast before.
Yes, I have.
Talking about bridge.
It was so fun.
It was a very highly listened to podcast, by the way. So, and I think everyone's
Ooh,
just saying, where's that Emma? She should have her own.
Yes, it's starting to get
Oh, we got
loud
another
out
group.
here
What are
because
y'all
we've got
helping out with?
transitions to the next.
We're helping out with preschool music. We're just like walking around. Like we popped into elementary and just started dancing around. So it was so fun. But
Nice. Y'all are gonna live it out. Live it out.
Those songs are going to be in your head for
Hey.
the next like
they're
month.
so good. Like I feel like I'm gonna be like walking the halls at school and like listening to these songs. Like they're so good.
They're like, and these songs do get stuck. These songs do get stuck in your head for weeks on end. So yeah. All right, bye y'all. Thank y'all for y'all's help.
Bye, y'all.
All right. But yeah, so anyways, the pastor responds. I love this.
I know.
The pastor responds by on next Sunday morning.
Yeah, so
There's
like
a long line of hippies.
yes, there's this super long line of people coming to get into
Yeah.
coming to get into the church, and the people who were complaining and saying, you know, the parishioners are saying like, you're gonna lose your contributing members, right? Like they're
Yeah.
threatening to pull their.
I hate that threat so much.
their contributions if things don't go the way that they think they ought to, right? So.
Yeah.
There's this real long line. They're like, what's going on? And then, you know, you see in this beautiful scene, and I love it, is the pastor bending, you know, sitting down and washing the feet of every single person that is
Yeah.
barefoot, you know, coming into the worship space. And just doing it with like this love and this joy. And
he was in there like, hey, so what's your name? And,
Yeah.
and he was just like greeting them and
and having them sit, and he would wash their feet, and it was just this beautiful act that I love seeing it, because it was like, rather than you know, give in to this you know, forceful
Hello.
suggestion. Hello.
What group
we're
are y'all?
recording
What
the
group are
podcast.
y'all?
What group? We're the Rafters. Go Rafters.
Go Raptors! Are y'all having fun?
Yes.
Where are y'all going to now?
Actually work. Da-da-da-da-da.
La, 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 la.
I know.
I know.
We just thought we'd have a nice little podcast by the fire.
Go Raptors!
It
It
is.
is.
It is.
We'll get through this story.
We will.
So-
You could watch the movie, which I do very much recommend. But so he's washing the feet of all of the people, and I just love. He just doesn't give in to these like forceful, you know, suggestions, but like
Yeah.
you know the threats, right, of the people who are saying like, we want to keep these people out, we got to kick them out. He was like, I'm not going to do that, right? But in this alternative, like, it's almost like he's like, I hear your concerns,
Yeah.
you know, but like, there are other ways. We don't have to kick them out. Let's
This
wash
is-
their feet instead.
It's baffling to think, and this happens when there are a lot of people wanting to come to your church, and you have some people who are like, well, we can't welcome everybody. Like,
Right.
oh, well, we can't.
They don't fit in here.
Oh my gosh! Like, and I'm not going to name this church. I'm sure they've gone. I'm sure they've changed. But like, man, it was like not that long ago, maybe 10 years ago, around the Houston area, there was a church. I knew someone doing student ministry, and she was doing a great job offering like an open gym and invited kids from the community and all this. In this church that was pretty much mainly white. And here are these kids coming for open gym who were different races. And when they started coming to church and all that, church members verbally told her they didn't want them there because they weren't dressing nice. They weren't being as reverent in worship as they're used to. They weren't doing, and it was just like, y'all, like, here's this chance for these kids coming to church.
Yeah.
And yet these church members were being very verbal, saying, unless they dress our way and do this and this and that, we don't want them. And it's like, y'all are missing an opportunity here.
Yeah, no,
It doesn't mean you have to completely change everything, right? Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's some ways, like if someone's just screaming out, I don't know. But it's just sad to think of like people were coming up with these excuses. And yeah, and this movie does a good job showing that this pastor took on this third class ticket, getting us back to the stagecoach thing, where
right.
Pat talks, which he's talked about this before, because I remember us talking about it in Sunday school with students. But the third class, because the stagecoach, don't think of it as an airplane. Like first class is up front, this whole nicer section, better seats. You get a warm cookie. You get all the snacks you want, Christy. Don't think of it like that, because a stagecoach is what you're thinking of. Is just one area. All the seats are the same. There's really no front and back.
Right.
And so you have the 3 classes of tickets. Y'all dancing some more? And so first class tickets, when something happens to the stagecoach, it gets stuck in the mud.
They
it
stay
breaks
in their
down.
seat.
They paid
Yeah.
for the opportunity just to stay in the coach and just stay there.
Right.
And they don't have to do anything.
Right.
Second class tickets,
Stand to this. They get out.
they're able to get out, but they don't have to help. So they just get out, they stand off to the side. Third class tickets are people who get out and they help push it in the mud. They help push it and repair it. They have to actually work on it. And so I remember asking our students, so which class would y'all want after doing a whole lesson? They go, first class. I'm like, okay, you're missing the point here.
Right. Which, like, I'm like, if you pay, I mean, you can't use the analogy all the way through, right? Like, you pay for a ticket, you're like, okay, well, I want to pay for my first class ticket. I don't want to get out, right?
Yeah.
But in church, like, being part of the church is a third class ticket. There isn't first class tickets.
You can't. So those parishioners in that movie were acting like first class people. Were like, hey, we contribute this much money. We do all that. We don't want to do this serving thing and welcoming all these new people. We don't want that.
I love what the pastor says to them. He's like, because they say, it's making the congregation uncomfortable. And the pastor says, well, maybe that's my job.
Yeah.
And I haven't been doing it.
Oh.
And I love that. I was like, man, maybe it's my job to make them uncomfortable, and I haven't been doing my job.
Yeah.
I
just read that in like a book I'm having to read from my classes, and it was the chapter was called "The Pastor as Prophet."
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that idea, I know that prophet can kind of freak people out or whatever, but he was all talking about prophetic preaching.
Yeah.
And
rarely are prophets loved.
Yeah. No, yeah, think about that. Yeah, because he was saying, like, sometimes your sermons, they're going to have to rattle some people. They're going to have to push them outside their comfort zone. They're going to have to do this because it's the leaders of the church and what you saw Jesus doing and what you saw others like is our job to try to keep people in line with the gospel.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means you have to do stuff that it goes against the cultural norm.
Yep.
I remember one time I preached on something, and it was here at St. Peter's, and I said something about money. And I had someone come up to me like, well, what were you talking about that? What do you mean, like, we're not just supposed to have money? I was like, well, I didn't say you can't have money. I'm just saying, like, we got to be careful that could become a false idol and all that. And and I could tell that whatever I said, I can't remember what it specifically was, but they were rattled by it. They're going, what do you mean?
I remember the Sabbath, that series that we did on Sabbath, that rattled people so much.
Oh, we could go further into that if we really want to shake things because it saddens me that a lot of people don't have a Sabbath.
Yeah, like, no, I want to come back and do another Sabbath series again because honestly, like that was shocking to me how passionate people were about that. But anyway, coming back to that, like that concept of making people uncomfortable. Like we don't come to church to just be comfortable. Now, granted, like we want it to be a place where you feel safe, where you feel like you can be vulnerable. You can bring in like the baggage that you've been carrying and the community and, the people within the church will help you carry that baggage and you can lay it at the foot of the cross, like, figuratively, right? Like you can come to this, to church and know that, this is a welcome, safe place to be where you can be known and loved, right? But we're the body of Christ, right? Yeah. And the body of Christ, like I always think about that imagery. If we're the body of Christ, it's like, look what the body of Christ went through.
What are his arms reaching? Yeah. What are his feet?
But yeah, like, I mean, look at what...
Casting Crowns?
Look at what... I know this song. Come on. Look at what the body of Christ endured, right?
Yeah.
If we are the body of Christ, like, are we willing to be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Are we willing to, like, serve our neighbors in that radical kind of way?
And it kind of go like it made Peter uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. He was the one who openly spoke out against Jesus washing his feet, going, "What are you doing? Like, you can't do this." And, it's just sad to think of, like, sometimes people, we're trying to live like Christ, but some people are just like, well, surely Christ wouldn't do that today. I'm like, no, he probably would. And he'd probably do so much more.
Yeah.
And it's just, we just got to be careful not to live into the world.
Yeah.
We are in the world. Nothing wrong with that. We're in the world, but try not to live into the world, but live into what Christ calls us to do and help bring heaven here on earth.
Right.
But yeah, so.
And I think, like, there's just the, kind of coming back to, originally we were talking about John, the Gospel of John, and how John really emphasizes the divinity of Christ. We talked about Jesus being like a king and all of that. And I think that we sometimes get this, like, entitled mentality. Like the church members in the movie that are like, we are contributing members, and we get that entitled kind of mentality and think that because of who we are or how much we've done for the church or contribute to society or whatever, that puts us on some kind of higher level, and and we get to all of a sudden become mediators of God's grace and welcoming.
Well,
and all
I've been
of
a
that.
member here longer, so I can.
Right.
Which I could just point out to the parable of the vineyard,
Yeah.
the workers in the vineyard.
Exactly. So, I think that is an important thing for us to remember, that, like, that we're not, it doesn't matter. You might be like, I've served and served and served for years. I've been like, service has been my middle name. It doesn't put you on a pedestal. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't, and I think we get into that, kind of mentality of, like, earning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earning our way to a higher level, earning our way to whatever. And it just doesn't work like that, But what I do love is, I mentioned in my sermon Philippians, and it was sort of that outer garment, putting the outer garment back on. And this is where, like, I think it's really cool. It's a weird, it's not an earning kind of thing. It's not like, it's not like we are doing the most work. It's not like God is given us, just hands off, giving us work, and we got to make, bring heaven on earth, and God doesn't have any part of it. Like, we're all working together here. It's a partnership. But, Jesus puts that outer garment back on, and it's this signifying moment of, like, by his service, right? By his obedience and his service to God and for humanity, he is then elevated, right, to, like, the authority above all, right, to this lordship. And so when we serve, like, when we see that, when we serve and we put on Christ in that way, and we, show the world, who Jesus is through our service, then, we are elevating the name of Christ. Like, as we lower ourselves, Christ is elevated. And it's like this really, I don't know, it's a weird upside down kind of thing, you wouldn't think, but that it commands attention. I think, like, in a world that's so selfish, in a world that is very, like, individualistic and all of that, when we are thinking about serving first and lowering ourselves and elevating other people, like, that elevates the name of Jesus.
Yeah, and it's because our society and all that seems to kind of tell us we got to move up so that we don't have to do that kind of stuff. And I've seen pastors, I've seen clergy where they thought certain work was beneath them.
Right.
And it's just like, no, we can all stack chairs.
Yeah.
No, we can all go and do that. We can all do this. Like, I get that sometimes, yes, it's good as a leader to delegate. I get that there's
for sure.
But sometimes when it comes down, it's like, no, we need everybody. And so that's why I love seeing Pat volunteering here. Here he is after 49 years, and he's retiring, and he's like, hey, I'll volunteer at VBS. And it's just like, nothing should ever be this. There's opportunity to share God's love, and take that opportunity.
The musician Leland, I think is who it is, has this quote that says, if you're too good to hold a toilet brush, then you're not good enough to hold the microphone.
Ooh. Which I do use a toilet brush to sing into when I'm in the shower.
Gross.
It's probably not the most sanitary.
Oh, Chad.
Okay,
no,
never mind.
No,
I don't.
no.
I don't do that.
No.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I've always loved that quote, and that's I think that's something I value, seeing other clergy serving, and or anybody for that matter. I feel like our bishop is one of those people who she serves. Like she doesn't think like, I'm the bishop, I don't have to do any of this stuff anymore, I've worked my way up here. When she gets the opportunity to serve, she'll do it, you know. And I think that those, that's the model that we were given from Jesus, right? Is he's like, I'm God in the flesh, and look what I'm doing, I want you to go and do the same. And that's like the whole rabbi-disciple relationship, is be like the rabbi and do as the rabbi did, So he's like, do this. This is what I want.
So I'm always saying, like, we're playing this game of follow the leader with Jesus, and so we're trying our best to do everything we can to walk in his footsteps and to live as he lived in our modern day, which is different, but like there's still ways we can still do it. Yeah. Because there's some of the truth is universal and timeless. So good sermon series so far. And about to come to an end, but
and then July, I think.
July is just going to be
it's all standalone.
Yeah, get ready for I don't know what it's going to be like for the podcast, because July is going to be pretty chaotic. But Preston's coming in. He's going to be doing some introduction type of sermons and introducing himself and all that. And so, and everyone else is kind of doing their own thing. So I'm sure it'll be fun. I think we'll get back on track at some point in August. So let's get to our ministry shout out. It's pretty, we already talked about Beach Retreat, so that was definitely a good shout out for our students that we got to just go and fellowship and worship and just have fun. And it's not too often, I've shared this with students, so it's not too often that West Campus and Kingsland Campus students just do something together. We do things with other churches at times and all that, so there's always mingling like that, but not too often it's just Kingsland and West, just because sometimes it's hard to coordinate it, and sometimes like our schedules are tight and all this, but it's always cool to do that. So there's a shout out for that we already talked about. But then we also, just obvious thing is VBS. So shout out to VBS. Y'all, this is, if you did not do your third class ticket and come and help out, I understand if you have health reasons or something like that. So no guilt there.
Or maybe you had a vacation planned a while back.
So no guilt there. But maybe next year when you do, VBS is coming, sign up. It is a lot of fun, as you just heard. And adults, it's easy. I don't know how else to describe it. You're not in charge of planning and organizing stuff. You just come along and you guide the kids through stuff.
Our children's ministry team is top notch. They have thought of literally everything. It's easy and just so fun. I mean, it's so fun. It's one of the most joy-filled weeks.
I just enjoy being in the hallway. I'm helping with all the student leaders, but I just enjoy being in the hallway just as the kids walk by and all that. So it's just a lot of fun.
I do know, I've heard a few people, Alyssa even said, that after Pat's third class ticket sermon, there were some members that, came up and said,
I saw
something. I want to do VBS. They were convicted by Pat's sermon.
Why didn't he do that so much earlier?
So, and it gets to a point where it's like, well, we've already filled up all the needs, and but Alyssa's like, I'll take floater volunteers. So she accepted them to come on and help out.
Maybe this is a good intro for them for next year. They understand it and they see it, and but even just people just decorating, like some of the decorations here, like we said, we're around a campfire right now.
I mean, people spent weeks, I think, just
making these fake trees out of cardboard and
collecting. I mean, they were like, we need boxes. They made all these trees out of boxes and they painted them. They had a all call for bring Christmas trees so that those can be part of the decoration. There's traced out animals in some hallways. These very cute little drawn animals.
I wish this was up all year round. I'm sorry. I do.
It's really fun. But they were up here till 6 o'clock at least last night, just getting everything together. So we're thankful for it. If you were a helper, thank you so much. You know, and I know there's a bunch of people that helped out at the West Campus with this, and some are doing double duty and coming back to help out at Kingsland too. So
Duty. Double duty.
you're too much.
All right. Well, we're glad that, again, I hope y'all enjoy the interruptions. I think these are the cutest interruptions.
They
Way
are
cuter
very
than
cute.
annual conference. But
They're very cute.
this has been great. And, yeah, we hope y'all have enjoyed this episode. And we will see y'all next week as we talk about VBS Sunday here at Kingsland and other stuff. So it should be a blast. So, but we'll see y'all all next week on the Next Day podcast.
See you next time.